Welcome to a table of learning. Conversations that transform lives. Do you feel stuck learning English? This story might hold the secret to unlocking your fluency and your dreams. Immerse yourself in this heartwarming story, where language meets life. This graded reader is perfect for English listening practice, offering a tale that inspires and teaches. Discover the truth about life while you learn English through story. Join us on this transformative journey filled with connection, confidence, and the joy of learning. Chapter 1. The Meeting at Sunrise Cafe. The sun had just begun its rise over bustling New York City. Clara stood behind the counter, tying her apron. Her shift at Sunrise Cafe always started early. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. Tables were already filling with the morning rush. A new day brought fresh faces and stories. Sophia entered, carrying a sense of calm and confidence. Her chef's jacket, crisp and white, caught Clara's eye. Sophia had just finished an early morning run through Central Park. She often visited Sunrise Cafe to enjoy breakfast before work. Today, she hoped for quiet and reflection. Matteo, a young student, stumbled in with a backpack over his shoulder. He was visibly nervous, clutching a notebook. His English teacher had assigned him to practice speaking daily. Matteo decided a cafe would be the perfect setting for conversation. He spotted a table near the window and sat hesitantly. Clara approached Matteo's table with her usual warm smile. "Hi there. Welcome to Sunrise Cafe. How can I help?" Matteo looked up, trying to remember his rehearsed lines. "Good morning. May I have, the special of the day, please?" His accent was thick, but his effort was clear. Clara appreciated his determination. Sophia watched the exchange from her table nearby. She admired Matteo's courage to practice. Learning a new language takes both patience and persistence. She herself had once struggled to perfect her English. As a chef, language was essential for working in diverse kitchens. She decided to encourage Matteo. Clara returned to Sophia's table after taking Matteo's order. "Your usual avocado toast, Sophia?" Clara asked with a friendly tone. Sophia nodded, then added, "And a coffee, please. I see you have a new customer." Clara glanced back at Matteo. "Yes, he seems nervous but eager. Maybe he's learning English." Sophia decided to make her move. She grabbed her coffee and approached Matteo. "Hi, is the seat taken?" she asked, smiling warmly. Matteo shook his head quickly, his shyness apparent. "No, please sit." Sophia introduced herself as a chef working in the neighborhood. She admired his bravery in speaking English. "I'm Sophia," she said, extending her hand. "I work at the restaurant nearby." Matteo shook her hand timidly. "I'm Matteo. I'm learning English for school." Sophia smiled. "You're doing great. Practice is key. The more you speak, the better." Matteo relaxed slightly, grateful for her kind words. Clara soon returned with their orders. She set Sophia's toast and Matteo's omelet on the table. "You know," Clara said, joining the conversation, "simple tips to improve English speaking at home really help." Matteo looked intrigued. "What tips?" he asked. Clara explained, "Talk to yourself in the mirror. It builds confidence. Sophia added her own advice. I used to shadow English speakers in cooking shows, she shared. Repeat everything they say, like your mirror. It's effective and fun. Matteo nodded eagerly, scribbling notes in his notebook. He was beginning to feel inspired by their suggestions. The cafe buzzed with the energy of clinking plates and lively chatter. Despite the noise, their table felt like a bubble of learning and connection. Sophia and Clara continued to share their language tips with Matteo. Try watching movies with subtitles, Clara suggested. You'll pick up natural phrases. Matteo's confidence grew as they spoke. How can I improve English speaking fast for beginners? He asked. Clara and Sophia exchanged a knowing smile. Clara replied, start with daily practice, even just 5 minutes. Sophia added, use apps like Duolingo or Tandem. They're free and really helpful. The trio's conversation flowed naturally as they exchanged ideas. Matteo shared his challenges with pronunciation and vocabulary. Clara shared stories of overcoming language barriers while traveling. Sophia reminisced about her early days in an English-speaking kitchen. Each story was a thread, weaving their connection tighter. As they finished their meals, Clara glanced at the clock. Her break was over, and she needed to return to work. Matteo, you've got this, she said encouragingly. Keep practicing and don't give up. Sophia nodded. Language is like cooking. Trial and error make you better. Matteo smiled, feeling uplifted and motivated. Thank you, both of you. I'll keep trying. Sophia and Clara waved as they returned to their routines. Matteo remained at the table, reflecting on their conversation. He realized that speaking English wasn't just about words. It was about connection and confidence. The morning rush began to slow as the cafe emptied. Matteo packed his notebook, still replaying the tips in his mind. He left Sunrise Cafe with a renewed determination. Sophia and Clara continued their day, unaware of the profound impact they had made. For Matteo, this was more than breakfast. It was the start of a journey toward fluency and self-discovery. Chapter 2: The Recipe for Practice. Sophia's restaurant kitchen was alive with motion and vibrant energy. Pots clanged. Knives chopped. Aromas of garlic and herbs filled the air. Her team communicated with precision and speed. They moved like a symphony, each chef playing a part. English was the common language, binding them together. Matteo had taken Sophia's advice to heart. He practiced speaking English in front of a mirror. Every morning, he repeated phrases he learned from podcasts. Today, Sophia had invited him to her kitchen. She believed hands-on experience would boost his confidence. Matteo was both nervous and excited. Sophia welcomed Matteo with her usual warm smile. Ready to learn? She asked. Matteo nodded enthusiastically, clutching his notebook. The bustling kitchen was intimidating. Sophia handed him an apron. Let's start with something simple, she said. You'll practice giving instructions in English. Sophia introduced Matteo to her sous chef, Marco. Marco was bilingual, fluent in both Spanish and English. Marco, this is Matteo. He's here to improve his English. Marco grinned. Welcome. Don't worry. We all started somewhere. Matteo felt reassured. The team's friendliness eased his anxiety. The first task was straightforward: preparing a salad. Sophia gave Matteo instructions in English. Wash the lettuce. Chop the tomatoes. Slice the cucumbers. Matteo repeated each step aloud. Wash the lettuce. Chop the tomatoes. Slice the cucumbers. His voice grew steadier with each repetition. Great job, Sophia encouraged. Now explain the steps back to me. Matteo hesitated, then began. First you wash lettuce. Then chop tomatoes. Finally, slice cucumbers. His pronunciation was imperfect but clear. Sophia nodded approvingly. That's it. See, practice makes progress. As Matteo worked, Sophia shared her own language learning journey. When I started working in English-speaking kitchens, it was tough, she admitted. I used to shadow my head chef. I repeated everything he said. Matteo listened intently. It's like learning a recipe, Sophia continued. Follow, practice, and perfect. The kitchen hummed with activity as orders came in. Sophia turned to Matteo with a challenge. Can you call out an order in English? She asked. Matteo hesitated, but nodded. He glanced at the ticket. 1 pasta carbonara, 2 Caesar salads, and a steak medium rare. The team cheered. Marco stepped in to help with pronunciation tips. Emphasize the key words, he suggested. Say, steak medium rare, clearly. Matteo repeated the phrase, steak medium rare. His confidence grew. The rhythm of the kitchen started to feel familiar. He was learning by doing. During a short break, Sophia shared practical tips for English learners. Use your environment to practice, she said. Label things in English at home. Matteo wrote down her advice. Simple tips to improve English speaking at home really help, Sophia added. Matteo nodded, determined to try. Marco joined their conversation, sharing his favorite learning tools. There are great apps to improve English speaking for free, he said. I use Tandem to talk with native speakers. It's fun and effective. Matteo made a mental note to download it later. Technology was his ally. The afternoon rush began, and Matteo observed the team closely. They communicated in short, clear sentences. Order up, shouted a chef. Table 5 needs bread. Matteo realized the importance of concise language. The kitchen was his classroom, and he was absorbing every lesson. Sophia gave Matteo another task, preparing ingredients for a soup. Peel the carrots. Dice the onions. Mince the garlic, she instructed. Matteo repeated her words as he worked. Peel the carrots. Dice the onions. Mince the garlic. He felt his fluency improving with each task. By the end of the day, Matteo was exhausted but exhilarated. He had learned more in a few hours than in weeks of study. Sophia patted his shoulder. You did great today, she said. You're improving your English naturally. Matteo beamed with pride. As Matteo left the restaurant, he reflected on the experience. Practical exercises had boosted his confidence. He was learning English through real-life situations. It's like cooking, he thought. The more I practice, the better I get. Sophia's recipe for practice was working wonders. The evening air was cool as Matteo walked home. He replayed the day's lessons in his mind. His heart swelled with gratitude for Sophia's mentorship. "I'll keep practicing every day," he resolved. The kitchen had not just fed his stomach, but also his soul. Sophia cleaned up her station, thinking about Matteo's progress. She knew that success wasn't about talent, it was about persistence. Helping Matteo reminded her of her own journey. She smiled, proud to pass on what she had learned. Language, like cooking, was an art that flourished with care. Chapter 3. Lessons Served Daily. Morning light spilled through the windows of Sunrise Cafe, warming the room. Clara balanced a tray of steaming coffees while greeting customers. Her daily routine was filled with familiar faces and new challenges. Every interaction was a chance to learn something new. Today, she felt it would be no different. Matteo entered the cafe with a smile and a notebook in hand. After his time in Sophia's kitchen, he was eager to practice more. He approached the counter, ready to order in English. Clara noticed his confidence and prepared to help. "Good morning. What can I get for you today?" Matteo glanced at the menu, taking a deep breath. "I'll have a latte and a croissant, please." His pronunciation was much clearer than before. Clara nodded, impressed by his progress. "Coming right up. How's your English practice going?" she asked. Matteo replied, "Better. I'm learning to improve English speaking daily." As Matteo waited, Clara introduced him to another customer. "Matteo, this is Mr. Parker. He teaches English locally," she said. Matteo extended his hand nervously. "Hello, Mr. Parker. Nice to meet you." Mr. Parker smiled warmly. "Nice to meet you too. Keep practicing, you're doing great." Sophia walked into the cafe, catching sight of Matteo and Clara. She waved as she approached their table. "Good morning. How's everyone today?" she asked. Matteo grinned. "I practiced English at home yesterday. It's getting easier." Sophia sat down, glad to hear his enthusiasm. Clara brought their drinks and joined the conversation. "You know," she said, "there are free resources to improve English online." Matteo tilted his head curiously. "Like what?" Clara continued. "Websites like BBC Learning English and YouTube channels are very helpful." Sophia nodded in agreement. "I've used them myself." The conversation shifted to daily habits that aid language learning. Sophia shared her favorite methods. "When I cook, I describe every step in English," she said. "It's a simple way to improve English speaking naturally." Matteo jotted down her advice. He was determined to try it. Mr. Parker joined their discussion, offering professional tips. "Set small goals," he said. "For example, learn 10 new words daily." Matteo found the suggestion manageable and motivating. "I'll start today," he replied. Clara added, "Practice phrases for specific situations, like ordering food or asking for directions." As the cafe grew busier, Clara returned to her duties. Sophia and Matteo stayed, continuing their chat. Sophia emphasized the importance of fluency for real-life scenarios. "Imagine you're preparing for a job interview," she said. "Practice answering questions in English." Matteo nodded, realizing the value of this exercise. Sophia gave Matteo a fun challenge. Let's role-play, she suggested. I'll be a customer, and you're the waiter. Matteo hesitated, but agreed. Sophia started, "Excuse me, can I see the menu?" Matteo responded, "Yes, here is the menu." Sophia smiled, correcting gently. "Try, here's the menu. It's more natural." They laughed as the role-play continued, turning learning into a game. Matteo grew more comfortable with each exchange. "This is fun," he admitted. "It's like a conversation exercise." Sophia beamed. "Exactly. Effective exercises to improve English fluency should feel natural." Matteo made a mental note to practice with friends. After an hour of practice, Matteo felt more confident. "How can I improve English speaking without a tutor?" he asked. Sophia replied, "Engage with people. Conversations are your best teacher." Clara, overhearing, added, "Also, join language exchange groups. They're free and super helpful." Before leaving, Sophia shared one last piece of advice. "Be patient with yourself," she said. "Language learning takes time and consistency." Matteo nodded, grateful for her encouragement. "Thank you, Sophia. I'll keep practicing daily." Sophia smiled, seeing his determination. She knew he would succeed. As the day wound down, Clara reflected on their conversations. Helping Matteo reminded her of her own journey with English. She realized every interaction taught her something new. Lessons weren't confined to classrooms. They were served daily in life. For Clara, this cafe was more than a workplace. It was a place of growth. Matteo left the cafe feeling inspired and hopeful. He reviewed the tips he had received, ready to apply them. "Tomorrow, I'll practice speaking about my daily activities," he decided. Each day was a step closer to fluency. With Sophia and Clara's support, he felt unstoppable. Sophia returned to her kitchen, thinking about Matteo's progress. She knew the road to fluency was challenging but rewarding. As she prepared her next dish, she smiled. Helping others learn was as fulfilling as perfecting a recipe. Lessons, like good meals, were best shared. Chapter 4. Breaking Barriers, Building Confidence. The crisp morning air filled Matteo with a mix of excitement. He clutched his notebook, determined to improve his English skills. Today, Matteo planned to visit Sunrise Cafe for more practice. The cafe had become his safe space to grow in confidence. He rehearsed phrases in his head as he walked. Clara noticed Matteo as soon as he entered the cafe. She greeted him with a bright smile and waved him over. "How's the English practice going?" she asked cheerfully. Matteo smiled nervously. "Better. I still make mistakes, but I keep trying every day." Clara's encouraging nod put him at ease. As they chatted, Sophia walked in, carrying a bag of fresh ingredients. She waved to them and joined the table, curious about Matteo's progress. "What's new, Matteo?" she asked warmly. Matteo hesitated before replying. "I practiced ordering food in English yesterday. It was hard but fun." Clara poured them each a cup of coffee and shared her own story. "When I first moved here, my English was terrible," she admitted. "I made so many mistakes, but people were patient." Matteo listened closely. "How did you gain confidence?" he asked. Clara replied, By speaking every chance I got. Sophia chimed in, sharing her early struggles as a chef in a new city. The kitchen was intimidating, she said. But I asked questions and learned. Matteo was inspired by their stories of perseverance. Were you ever afraid of being judged? He asked shyly. Sophia smiled. Yes, but fear fades with action. Matteo confessed his biggest challenge: speaking to groups. I feel nervous and forget my words, he admitted. Clara leaned forward, offering her support. Start small, she said. Practice with 1 or 2 people first. Sophia added, confidence grows when you face your fears step by step. Sophia suggested a role-play exercise to help Matteo. Let's pretend we're at a meeting, she said. Clara nodded enthusiastically. You introduce yourself and tell us one fun fact, she explained. Matteo hesitated, but agreed. Okay, I'll try, he said with determination. Clara started the exercise with a light-hearted example. Hi, I'm Clara. I love painting landscapes in my free time. Sophia followed with a playful grin. I'm Sophia. I enjoy running and discovering new recipes. Matteo took a deep breath. I'm Matteo. I like reading books about history, he said softly. Both Clara and Sophia clapped, cheering him on. That was fantastic, Clara exclaimed. Matteo smiled, feeling a surge of pride. Sophia added, see? It's not about being perfect. It's about being brave. Matteo realized he had just taken another step toward breaking his barriers. As the cafe filled with customers, Clara excused herself to serve tables. Matteo and Sophia continued their conversation, focusing on practical exercises. Matteo asked, how can I improve English speaking without a tutor? Sophia replied, engage with people. Speak whenever you can. That's the real teacher. Sophia gave Matteo an interview preparation tip. Practice answering common questions aloud, she said. Record yourself if possible. Matteo jotted down her advice, eager to try it. Are there free resources for mock interviews? He asked. Sophia suggested online platforms with practice scripts. Clara returned to their table during a short break, overhearing their discussion. You know what helped me? She said. Recording myself talking about my day. Matteo looked intrigued. What did you learn from that? He asked. Clara replied, I caught my mistakes and worked on them. Matteo decided to practice a simple introduction with Clara's guidance. Can I try speaking as if it's an interview? He asked. Clara nodded, giving him her full attention. Matteo stood and took a deep breath. Hello, my name is Matteo. I am learning English to improve myself. Clara applauded his effort, beaming with pride. That was wonderful, she said. Sophia added, You're improving every day. Keep going. Matteo felt a renewed sense of confidence. Each small victory was a step closer to fluency. He began to see his mistakes as learning opportunities. As the day came to an end, Matteo reflected on his journey. He had started this chapter feeling unsure and afraid. Now, he was speaking more naturally, supported by Clara and Sophia. Mistakes are okay. They help me grow, he whispered to himself. Sophia and Clara watched Matteo leave the cafe, with a spring in his step. "He's making incredible progress," Clara said. Sophia nodded, proud of his determination. They both felt fulfilled, knowing they had helped him break through his fears. Matteo was building confidence and breaking barriers, one word at a time. Chapter 5. The Secret Ingredient to Success. The evening was quiet as Matteo sat at his desk. His notebook lay open, filled with phrases and tips he'd gathered. He reflected on his progress, feeling a mix of pride and curiosity. Matteo knew he was improving, but something still felt incomplete. He was determined to uncover the secret to true fluency. The next morning, Sophia invited Matteo to her restaurant for a surprise. "We're making something special today," she said. Matteo arrived early, eager to see what Sophia had planned. The kitchen buzzed with energy, but Sophia's focus was on him. "Today's lesson is about confidence," she began. Sophia handed Matteo a recipe card and smiled. "You'll lead this dish," she said. Matteo looked at her, wide-eyed. "Me? But I'm not ready." Sophia shook her head. "You've been practicing daily. Trust yourself." The team gathered around, ready to assist if needed. Matteo read the recipe aloud, step by step. His voice trembled at first, but grew steadier with each word. "Chop the onions. Sauté the garlic. Add the tomatoes," he instructed. The team followed his lead, encouraging him along the way. Matteo felt a new sense of responsibility. As the dish came together, Sophia shared her wisdom. "Fluency isn't about perfect grammar," she said. "It's about connection." Matteo paused, letting her words sink in. "Connection?" he asked. Sophia nodded. "Yes, speaking from the heart is more important than perfect words." Clara arrived at the restaurant just in time to try the dish. "This smells amazing," she said, taking a seat at the table. Matteo served her, proud of his teamwork with the chefs. "What's the secret ingredient?" Clara asked playfully. Matteo smiled. "It's confidence." Over lunch, Sophia revealed her ultimate language learning secret. "When I struggled with English, I made it part of my life," she said. Matteo and Clara leaned in, eager to hear more. "Every moment became practice," Sophia explained. "I described my actions, narrated my day." Clara added her perspective. "So, you turned daily habits into learning opportunities," she said. Sophia nodded. "Exactly. Language isn't just in books or apps. It's in life." Matteo realized he had been compartmentalizing English. He needed to integrate it into his routine more naturally. Sophia gave an example of her daily practice. "In the kitchen, I talk to myself," she said. "I say, 'Now I'm chopping carrots. Next, I'll boil the pasta.'" Matteo laughed. "That sounds fun," he said. "I'll try narrating my morning routine." Clara shared how she used Sophia's method during her travels. "I'd think aloud when exploring new places," she said. "It helped me remember words better." Matteo saw the value of constant exposure. "It's like creating an English environment everywhere you go," he said. Sophia leaned forward, her tone serious yet inspiring. "The secret ingredient to success," she said, "is consistency." Matteo wrote the word in bold letters in his notebook. "Without consistency, even the best tools won't work," Sophia continued. Clara nodded in agreement. Matteo asked how to stay consistent without feeling overwhelmed. Sophia replied, start small. Narrate your actions for 5 minutes daily. Clara added, use free resources online to keep it interesting. Matteo appreciated their practical advice. He felt he finally understood the path to fluency. The trio finished their meal, but the conversation lingered in Matteo's mind. He realized fluency wasn't a destination, it was a journey. Each day offered opportunities to grow, and every mistake was a step forward. I've been focusing too much on perfection, he admitted. Sophia smiled, seeing his breakthrough. Fluency is about being understood, not being flawless, she said. Matteo felt a weight lift from his shoulders. For the first time, he saw language as a tool for connection, not just an academic challenge. As the evening approached, Sophia and Clara said their goodbyes. Matteo stayed behind to reflect on the day. He replayed Sophia's words in his mind. Language is in life. Inspired, he pulled out his phone and recorded himself narrating his evening routine. I'm washing the dishes. Now, I'm making tea. The city lights flickered outside as Matteo practiced aloud. His voice carried a new confidence, unafraid of imperfections. He realized the secret wasn't just a method, it was a mindset. Consistency, connection, and courage were his guiding principles now. Matteo left the restaurant with a renewed sense of purpose. He no longer feared mistakes or judgment. Instead, he embraced each opportunity to learn and grow. The journey to fluency felt more achievable than ever. Matteo smiled, knowing he had found his secret ingredient to success. If this story inspired you, let us know in the comments below. Which tips resonated with you the most? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more life-changing stories and English learning strategies. Don't miss our next video uncovering the untold secrets of Panama Canal history. Discover how this iconic waterway changed global trade and the controversial role of America in its creation. Stay tuned to learn the fascinating story behind one of history's greatest engineering feats.